The Israel Museum in Jerusalem held a retrospective of Efrat Natan's work, one of Israel's first artists to explore minimalism and performance art. In her work, Natan uses everyday objects, sometimes drawing inspiration from her childhood in a kibbutz. Maya Margit has more.
Making do with little, a phrase that aptly describes the art of Efrat Natan. One of Israel's first conceptual and minimalist artists, Natan was born in Mandatory Palestine in 1947 and grew up on a kibbutz, or communal settlement, known as Kfar Rupin. Now the Israel Museum in Jerusalem is holding a major retrospective of her work, spanning 4 decades of installations and performances. Titled Whitewash and Tar, the exhibition features an impressive reconstruction of some of Natan's most famous installations, like this one, originally shown in Tel Aviv on the roof of her apartment building.
She had this kind of installation on the roof of her apartment house where she lived in Tel Aviv of squeegees with undershirts on them that kind of recall crucifixions. Think about a crucifixion and the way if you just put a squeegee this way, it looks like a cross. And then the undershirt would be like the body of Jesus on the cross.
Undershirts, netting, and farming tools. Natan is famous for taking everyday objects and turning them into symbols.
I try to make it universal, not just about my biographical experience. And by making it so simple, I believe I can take few of those experiences into one simple object.
Her childhood on the kibbutz played a crucial role in her art. In the Swing of the Scythe sculpture, Natan used a tool symbolically linked to Israel's pioneer generation.
Doing a kind of a circle out of these scythes, you get 2 things. You get a dance of scythes, a dance that has to do with working the land, the Hora dance that the pioneers used to dance in the early years of the kibbutz, and some of them still do. And another side of it, its more dark side, is that the scythe is also a symbol of the angel of death.
But aside from using materials and objects linked to early Zionists, Natan was a pioneer in her own right. At a time when performance art was almost unheard of in Israel, Natan was the first to connect art to the body. In one of her best-known works, Natan walked through the streets of Tel Aviv with a T-shaped box over her head.
This was very, I would say, unprecedented in Israel at that time because there were hardly any performance artists. So doing this, and with the idea, of course, of documenting it, was kind of a first time in Israel.
It's not that I don't believe in political art, but it's not me. It's not how, because every object of mine, I try to put into it more than one thing, because it's not a metaphor, it's more a symbol.
A blend of memories and childhood experiences from the founding of the State of Israel. Ultimately, the Israel Museum retrospective reveals how the mundane and daily life can be elevated into something more spiritual.